why we need each other.
We can't stop him alone.
The upcoming Marvel film Thunderbolts has stirred significant anticipation among fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not just because of its unique ensemble of anti-heroes and morally gray characters, but also due to its potential to reshape the tone and trajectory of Marvel's post-Infinity Saga world. Unlike traditional team-ups, this group doesn't consist of clean-cut Avengers or universally respected icons. Instead, it's a mix of outcasts, former villains, government operatives, and soldiers with complicated pasts and fractured loyalties. This premise alone gives Thunderbolts a grittier and more grounded edge compared to the galaxy-hopping adventures or multiversal chaos seen in other recent entries. The idea of bringing together characters who often work in the shadows or live under public scrutiny offers a refreshing break from the usual heroic idealism, positioning this film as a darker, more introspective exploration of power, redemption, and manipulation. What makes Thunderbolts particularly intriguing is how it's been slowly and subtly set up over multiple MCU projects, with key characters being introduced or reintroduced in new lights across films and Disney Plus series. Yelena Belova, introduced in Black Widow, was an immediate standout thanks to Florence Pugh's charismatic and layered performance. With Natasha Romanoff gone, Yelena steps into her sister's shadow, but she carries her own baggage and a unique worldview shaped by years of being controlled and trained by the Red Room. Her appearance in Hawkeye added complexity to her character, showcasing a blend of dry wit, emotional vulnerability, and lethal efficiency. Yelena's inclusion in the team adds emotional weight and familial tension, especially with the lingering guilt and loss tied to Natasha's sacrifice. Then there's Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, whose journey from brainwashed assassin to weary veteran has spanned nearly a decade of storytelling. Sebastian Stan's portrayal has given audiences a deep understanding of Bucky's inner turmoil, his struggle for peace, his regret over past actions, and his difficulty finding a place in a world that still sees him as a weapon. His role in Thunderbolts presents the chance for further exploration into whether he can truly escape his past or if he's destined to forever be seen as a tool of violence. The idea of Bucky being placed in a leadership or moral compass role among other deeply flawed individuals is compelling, especially considering his complicated relationship with authority and the U.S. government. Another key figure is John Walker, also known as U.S. Agent. Introduced in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Walker began as a decorated soldier chosen to wield the Captain America shield, only to buckle under pressure and ultimately succumb to a violent act that stripped him of that honor. Yet, his arc didn't end with disgrace. Instead, he was recruited by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, setting up his involvement in this murky, morally ambiguous team. Wyatt Russell's performance brought a grounded intensity to Walker, a man torn between his desire to do good and his instinctive aggression. His presence on the team raises questions about loyalty, morality, and whether redemption is truly possible, when one's instincts lean toward authoritarian control. Speaking of Valentina, her shadowy appearances across the MCU have hinted at her role as a puppet master assembling a new kind of team, one not driven by altruism, but by national interest, pragmatism, and subtle coercion. Julia Louis-Dreyfus's portrayal infuses the character with a mysterious charisma, blending political calculation with a touch of dry humor. Her presence connects the dots between these characters, suggesting a top-down orchestration that echoes themes of surveillance, governmental overreach, and manipulation. Unlike Nick Fury's idealistic Avengers initiative, Val's Thunderbolts feel like a tool crafted not to protect the world, but to control it. Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, adds another layer of complexity. Introduced in Black Widow, Alexei is a relic of Soviet super-soldier experimentation and a man living in the shadow of Captain America. His braggadocio and emotional immaturity mask deep insecurities and a desire for relevance in a world that's left him behind. While he often provides comic relief, there's an underlying sadness and yearning that make him more than just a parody of Steve Rogers. On a team filled with damaged individuals, his inclusion adds both levity and an opportunity for deeper reflection on aging, legacy, and the lies we tell ourselves about heroism. Taskmaster is another fascinating inclusion. In Black Widow, the Yakibi character was introduced with a twist. Instead of the traditional comic book version, The MCU Taskmaster is Antonia Dreykov, a victim of her father's control and a product of extensive physical and psychological manipulation. Though the character's portrayal was met with mixed reactions due to limited dialogue and development, Thunderbolts provides a chance to delve into her psyche, explore her recovery from trauma, and perhaps reclaim her autonomy. A fighter who can mimic any combat style is inherently cool, but what makes her interesting isn't just her ability, it's the question of who she is without someone pulling the strings. Ghost, introduced in Ant-Man and the Wasp, brings a more sci-fi element to the mix. Ava Starr's phase-shifting condition made her both dangerous and tragic. A young woman caught in the fallout of quantum experimentation who was used by SHIELD before being abandoned. Her motivations were always rooted in desperation. Rather than villainy, and with the technology that kept her stable likely degrading, her participation in the team could be born out of necessity more than choice. Her presence continues the film's theme of individuals being exploited or manipulated by institutions, and now seeking control over their own fates. The dynamic between these characters is what sets Thunderbolts apart. Unlike the Avengers, who were bound by common goals and mutual respect, this group is more likely to be motivated by self-interest, obligation, or coercion. That creates an environment where trust is scarce, alliances are fragile, and every mission has the potential to implode from within. It's less about teamwork and more about survival, less about saving the world and more about surviving its moral ambiguity. That tension is fertile ground for compelling storytelling, character clashes, and unexpected growth. The very fact that most of them are used to operating solo or as weapons for hire adds another layer of friction that the film can use to build both conflict and reluctant camaraderie. Another aspect of the film that generates interest is its positioning within the larger MCU. Coming after a wave of multiverse-heavy projects, Thunderbolts may signal a tonal shift back toward grounded, espionage-driven narratives. While the universe continues expanding in scope, there's a growing desire among fans for stories that explore character depth and consequences on a more human level. The MCU's strength has always been its diversity of tone and genre, and Thunderbolts could serve as a counterbalance to the cosmic and the bizarre, reminding audiences of the personal costs of power, control, and trauma. It's also likely to tie into wider political or military narratives within the MCU, possibly foreshadowing future global conflicts or the emergence of state-sponsored super teams.